All right, guys, this is our first video podcast. This is episode 58. We've got myself and we've got Dylan. This is really weird. I've never done this before. I feel like I'm doing a YouTube video, but I'm talking to someone and I've got live feedback, so this is weird. But, anyways, we're back. We've got giveaways. I guess we should probably get into that first because that's probably what people are going to want to hear.
Yeah. Good idea.
So, go ahead and tell them what do we got for prizes, and then we can go into kind of some of the requirements and what you have to do to actually have a chance to win these prizes.
All right. So our big prize, and we're big thanks to Jake Yates. He's going to be supplying us a razor to give away to one of you guys. So, we've talked about it a whole bunch, roughing and finishing, all that stuff. I actually need a shave today, so I'll probably do
Same.
that when I get home. Um,
Yep.
Payton's going to be giving away some BrickTactical stuff. We've got some T-shirts left. We've got stickers. I might whip up a few things in the mill to send out as well. So we've got we're definitely gonna have a big first prize and maybe a couple smaller, sticker packages and stuff like that. And what we want you to do is create a meme with hashtag WTP meme with Intolerance Podcast meme. Tag us in it. Tag either of our personal ones if you want to. And it needs to be about with intolerance. It needs to have to do with something you heard on the show or that you learned on the show. It can be sweet, it can be funny, it can whatever. We're gonna sort through them. We're gonna pick our favorites, and those are gonna be our winners.
And I guess that's one thing we got to think about, Dylan, is do we want to find our personal favorites or should we like find the top 5 or I guess top 10 and then have people vote? Because I've seen people do that on like Instagram. I don't know how we want to do that.
Yeah, we'll have to we'll figure it out off air, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
so we'll either let you guys vote on them or we'll decide depending on maybe the quantity of people that come in or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are going to do this, to be honest. So
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
see.
see. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. This is weird. Okay. What do we got over here? Okay. Giveaway. Boom. You guys are going to get some free stuff. I guess other than that, let's just do the normal show. So, what have you been working on?
So we were just talking a little bit about it. I got a rush order last Wednesday, and it was actually two buyers from the company. Both gave me orders, one of which I didn't think I was going to get at all, and I got both. And so I'm just trying to whip them out real quick. I got one order done over the weekend, and then I've got one remaining that I'm running a little late on because it's a little more difficult than I thought it was. I thought it was about this big, and it turns out it's much bigger. So, yeah, I'm working on that. And we've been doing kind of small little shop updates. Here, I'll turn them on real quick. I put in these shop lights from Costco, and they're all
Oh,
on
you got to show the brother.
Oh, yeah, I can. You can see it in the background there. You can turn it on and off. And I'm going to put another one over by the lathe, and then we're going to put one in the middle here because it's, it doesn't seem it in the video, but it is quite a bit darker than I'd like in the shop, especially, late at night. If you're here, it's like, ugh, come on, this is,
Yeah.
but, you start adding, I think each one of these is like, what, 4,000 lumens. So
Oh, wow.
they're quite a bit. And especially when you start hanging them down lower at head height, like it gets pretty bright. So yeah, we got that going, working. I got more grills to run this weekend. I've got those titanium parts to run. I'm just staying busy, but I'm feeling good. Things are going well.
I guess I'm looking around your shop and I just realized there's the nice, clean, or now clean material rack back there.
Oh yeah. It's not a big pile like it used to be.
Yeah.
It literally was like a game of Jenga that Brad and I would play of like, who's going to be the one to have 50 pounds of aluminum fall on them.
Yeah, seriously. That's cool. Yeah, I like. Oh yeah, we talked about that. You also have that baker's rack tray thing.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
would roll it over here and show you. You can kind of see in the back there.
yeah.
Um, yeah, that's a half rack, I want to say. And then they have ones
Okay,
that are double that size.
okay.
But it works great. Like I want to say I was maybe $100 into it all together with the pans and
Yeah,
everything.
no, I like that.
I'll have to find the exact. I think I gave it to you. It was like restaurant supply or
Yeah,
something like that. So yeah, it works out really well. I mean, funny enough, talking about cleaning things, it was full of soft job blanks and like things like that. And then when I had these orders come in, I was like, man, I got to get this cleaned off so I have like a clean work surface. And right now, our workspace isn't really ideal. Like the toolbox right here was for the kitty, but now we'll eventually end up with the Speedio probably, because we've got another one, a duplicate, like right behind it for the TC. But if we put that one right next to the Speedio on the other side, we'll lose access to either the material shelf or like walking through here. So we need to get the kitty out, and then we'll be able to rearrange everything nicely.
It looks like your brother is pretty much like a straight shot in from that door. Is it, or is it off to the left, the main roll-up door there?
Oh yeah, no, it's a pretty much. I mean, that's how it came in.
Yeah,
I think I've got even a video on my Instagram when it came in that it was like super easy for them to offload. Like they rolled it in and called it a day. We made sure it was on one of the concrete pads and not spanning them like they wanted initially, and yeah, it worked out. And like the two brothers, the doors are facing each other too, so I can run those like a cell, which is nice.
Yeah. So for those that are listening, he's got another machine that you can't see. Yeah, but that's cool.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, we talked about last week's shop space. Like, it actually in the video, it looks a little bit more spacious than it is, and really over by the roll door, like that's all open space. Like that's where I had a car shell for a long time.
Okay.
Brad and I work on cars there. You can see our empty coolant black barrels for like the recyclers back there, some car parts, stuff like that. But like the machining area is just not well laid out yet. Like when the kitty's gone, the Speedio will come over here, and then they'll both face each other this way.
Got it.
And I'll have like a table between them. So yeah, all in due time for sure.
Yeah, that's cool.
So what about you? You have also been slammed.
Yeah, fortunately or unfortunately, it's kind of hard to say. And I was talking to, who was I talking to? A couple people, especially Drew from Drew Fab, and we were talking that I kind of, if I go back in time and I think about when I was like looking to buy my machine, like I would say 60 to 70% of the reason I wanted the machine was to make my own molds. You know, I'd already been making molds, but I wanted to make them better than my little tag machine could. And so the other 30 to 40% of the reason to buy that machine was I wanted to make parts for companies because I thought that'd be cool. And I'm starting to realize that I'm doing two separate businesses here. And it is to the point where the machining business has grown exponentially in like the past year that it could be a full-time job. And then the Lego side of things over the past like 7 years has now gained enough traction where it's a full-time job, and it's like, okay, this isn't working. What are we doing here? Like, I'm literally downstairs like all this morning just proving out these parts, and then I got this Lego customer that's like, where's my stuff? And then I got the other machining customer that's like, where are my parts? And I'm like, you guys just don't understand like what's happening here. And it's hard because it's like, I just don't know where to spend my time. Like, I'm looking at my UV printer and I'm like, okay, like that's going good, whatever. But like, I'm trying to figure out where I want to delegate my time. And, you know, I actually, speaking of you getting that email from the customer and you were saying you passed on a couple parts, I got an email from a really good local customer and they're like, can you quote 50 of these and 50 of these? And I basically was like, you know, I've never done this before, but I can't do these right now. Like, and I'm sorry, like, I wish I could help you, but I'm just like, I can't, I'm tapped out. Like, there's nothing you're going to get out of me right now. And they actually replied, I'm looking at the email right now. They actually replied really well. And they're like, you know, don't worry about it. Like, we're glad you're busy. You know, maybe we could get on a phone call once you're not as busy and we could figure out like what kind of quantities and part complexity works best for your shop. Like, and I'm just going to be like, yeah, if it's like 100, I'll take it. But like, I'm not doing a prototype part. Like that's just, no. And so I'm trying to figure out that balance. And I've kind of made the conclusion that once I get this, I've got 2 machining jobs right now. Once I get the first one done in like a week, that'll be a huge relief. And then I got one more and then I'm done. And I'm probably for at least 2 weeks. I'm gonna say no more. Like done. Like I've got probably 20 molds that could be ran, and I'll just run those during the night. But other than that, I don't really want to think about an end mill. And like all that stuff, it sounds weird, but like I've got parts on parts on parts of stuff that needs to get printed. Um, Literally, you look at my website, it is, I would say, 80% sold out. Um, it's just sold out, sold out, sold out, and it's like, but I'm still getting orders, and I don't know what they're buying, but I'm getting orders, and so it's like I'm trying to find this balance of what the heck to do. And one thing that I wanted to ask the viewers is for everyone out there that has like a Shopify store, especially if you have your own products, I struggle with inventory management, and we've talked about this before, but one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spend a day and I'm going to literally go through my whole catalog of like 300 products. I'm going to count each one, confirm the inventory levels, because what I'm running into is I'll get an order for like $1 item and I don't have it. And it's like, okay, I got to find the email or the customer's email them, hope they reply. Normally it's like, hey, we don't have this color. Would you be okay with this color? And normally they're like, yeah, that's fine. But sometimes they don't reply because it might go to their spam or all that. And now I'm holding their order. And then 2 weeks later, they email me and say, hey, where's my order? And I'm like, hey, I already emailed you. And so I need to nail that down. But it just got thrown off with all these conventions. You go to these shows and you lay out all your stuff, and I don't count before and after. That would take way too much time.
Right.
But it's just like, I don't know. I need to nail down that inventory. If I make 50 products, I need to update the inventory to 50, not 49, but 50. But then I also have to be very cautious of if I take one out for any reason that gets changed right away, because I think that's part of the problem too. I might give something away or give something to a friend, and all of a sudden, where did that one product go that causes you all that grief? So yeah, that's my life right now.
Well, that's
So
good. Yeah, I could tell the last couple of days that you were feeling a little burnt out, and that I
uh,
think it'll be a good. It's nice that you have that option to like, oh, you know what? I'm not going to machine. I'm not going to talk to customers. I'm just going to like
yeah,
work through my emails and send out Lego stuff. Like that's cool. That's really cool.
yeah, and it's just like I want to get like things under control. I feel like they're not. Like I'm making them under control, but they're really not.
Right.
And that's a problem because I've been fighting a pointless battle this whole time that should never have been a battle, as far as like inventory levels and stuff like that. So I need to restock all this stuff, nail that down, take a chill pill, say, you know what, okay, if I want to machine, I have all these personal projects that I want to machine, like maybe knock out those. If I've got personal projects or like products that are machined, maybe do those. But yeah, for now, we're going to tone back the job shop work just a little bit.
Well, yeah, you've got all your Delrin printing fixtures too to make.
Yeah, that's true. And I actually, one of these customer jobs, I didn't have any way to hold these parts because normally I have like I wish I grabbed them. They're right over there, but I don't want to take it off the machine because it's kind of like, oh, 2/10 repeatability, but you're like, I don't really want to lose that 2/10 right there, so I'm gonna
Right.
leave that. But yeah, luckily I had machined one pallet and I didn't cut anything into it. I just put the two holes for the pins and that's it. And I was able to double back tape a Lego base plate, like just a plate onto it, and then I could build whatever fixture I want like I used to do. But now I can just swap it off and put my other fixtures on, and I'm like, okay, perfect. That's all I need. Let's just get this order done. And it's nice because if I need something quick, I can just put that on there, and now I can build whatever the heck I want.
Yeah,
Um,
that's super smart. We actually do that at work with the Lang because we're slowly transitioning a lot of the mills to like, especially the fourth axes to Lang plates, and so we took
okay.
a few of the stock like T-nut slot fourth axis faceplates and put
Yeah.
the Lang studs in them. So like worst case, if we don't have the fixture or like we don't have the time to put those studs in an old fixture, we can just slap that faceplate up, and then bolt it in like normal and call it a day.
Yeah, I mean, whatever works. And I've learned, like we've all talked about, standardization, if that's the word,
Yeah.
is very crucial for stuff like this. So, and I want to test, I'm going to probably test later tonight, is I'm going to print a part on this fixture, be like, okay, cool. I'm going to take the fixture off, put it back on, and print another one and see if it's still lined up. And that's just going to test the repeatability of the two pins. That's all I want to test. But it should be totally fine. But I'm just curious and I want to know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to play with that a little bit. But yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, seriously.
So speaking of getting things under control, I had my meeting with our accountant on Saturday.
Oh, that's right.
It was awesome.
Really?
Like, she is so on board. She actually, it's like they're a QuickBooks company usually,
Okay.
but I guess she just got approached recently by Xero to like start looking into like partnering with them or something, and so she kind of knew a little bit about Xero, enough to like talk fluently about it, and like walk through our Xero account with us. And her rates super reasonable, and they're just going
Yeah.
to charge us straight hourly, so like an hour or two a month to go through and reconcile anything that's not reconciled and make sure we're not making any big oopsies, and kind of
Yeah.
just police our books and make sure that we're not doing anything really stupid. And like it's not going to cost me. I think last week I said my limit would be like 150, and it, from what it sounds like, it's not going to cost me anything more than that. It might even be a little bit less than that.
Oh, wow.
And she was like, she totally understood where we were coming from. I was like, listen, imagine we're 5-year-olds and you have to explain everything like that.
Yeah.
Like, that's like everything I've learned about business has been from running a business, and like just in the nick of time, or just after I made a mistake or something like that. So she was totally on board. She was great. I'm really, really looking forward to it.
That's good. Yeah, someone mentioned that to me on Instagram. They messaged me and they're like, Payton, it was a long message, but this is my summary of it. They're like, Payton, you need inventory management and you need to get on QuickBooks. Thank me later. And I'm like, okay, yeah, fair.
Yeah, I would
So,
choose something. Personally, I would look at Xero over QuickBooks, especially their
okay.
online thing, because I've heard even our bookkeeper was like, we're a QuickBooks shop and I hate them so much. Like,
Really?
apparently this year they were like, the software just stopped printing zeros on the tax returns where it was supposed to.
Oh, shit.
And when she talked to them, they were like, oh, well, just go to the IRS website and put them in yourself. And she's like, no, that's why I pay you. Like,
Yeah.
that's exactly why I pay for your service. And they were like, oh, well, sorry,
Okay,
So
yeah. I'm looking at it right now. So they've got $9 per month, $30 per month, and $60 per month.
I can't remember which
Multi-currency
one I'm on. I think I'm on either the 30 or the 60.
project time and cost. That could be interesting. Expenses, capture and manage claims. Yeah, I'd probably just get the biggest one, the most expensive one. Probably get
Yeah,
everything.
it's worth it because you can do all your quoting through there too.
Oh, really?
And like they have at least on Android, they have a pretty good app too where I can do almost everything.
Okay.
And like it'll send invoice reminders if they don't pay on time. It'll do
Oh,
all that
nice.
stuff for you. And especially as a single shop or single guy shop like that, I'm sure that would take a lot of load off of you.
Yeah. Man,
So
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
worth looking into. I really like it. I know there's another competitor that's supposed to be pretty good too. I just know that everybody I've talked to that uses QuickBooks has been like, it's not great. Like
Yeah.
it sounds like Intuit just doesn't care. And granted, I've also come across that kind of mentality with Xero, but they seem to be at least a little more on top of like a 21st century program than
Yeah.
Intuit. So
No, everyone always says QuickBooks. I feel like it's the one thing that's just been advertised like boom, 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 get QuickBooks, QuickBooks. But then like Zero's like, hey, we're over here, like, try us out. So
yeah,
yeah,
well, like I know Saunders switched to Xero from
yeah,
QuickBooks. Uh,
yeah,
their integrations are pretty good. Especially with like what you do, I think it would work pretty well. I've heard that their inventory thing isn't great, but
okay,
from what I've heard, all of the inventory ones aren't great. Like QuickBooks
yeah.
doesn't do a great inventory either. I can't remember the third one right now, but there's also a free trial for like 30 days, I think, or
That's
60
what I'm
days.
saying.
So
Yeah,
worst case, you try it, you don't like it, and you're just like, well, I'll keep doing it by hand, like,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch some YouTube videos on this just to see kind of how it can be used for me.
Yeah, it's totally worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm at the $30 tier. I just checked
Okay.
because I don't need really inventory or anything like that.
I guess yeah, that's a question for me because like one of the things is multi-currency, and I know like I get orders from all over the world, but I'm pretty sure Shopify, like I'm not dealing with like euros and stuff. Like it just comes to me, like they just do that. So I don't know, but yeah,
Yeah, worth looking into though, like you said.
yeah. I was trying to
Well,
think.
cool. I'm glad that you're gonna take a little break. I know the last couple of days I've been not worried about you, but I've been like, man, like Peyton's stressed.
Someone I can't remember who messaged me. It might have been Drew again. We text every now and then, and like he was like, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, "Define all right." like, yeah, but I don't know. Like, this just needs to the fire needs to be put out for a small portion of time. Like, that's just the best way to put it.
For sure.
But yeah, and then like I was thinking, and I was doing like my workouts and stuff, and I'm just like I need to structure my days better. And I think I mentioned this last time briefly, but like I really need to schedule some things. And actually reading this book, I don't, yeah, you can see that. The one that Brandon at MFG Solutions sent me. He talks about that in there, how like, what I want to say about how structuring your day, like doing 75 hard will teach you to time manage because of how long all these tasks actually take. You know, how do you fit 2 hours of stuff in a normal day? Like, you either got to wake up earlier or you got to be smarter about your time. And most people just pick smarter about your time. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah. I've thought about it. Like, I would love to do 75 hard, but like even adding just the workouts, I'm like, I don't have an hour and a half. Like,
Yeah.
I work out and I get like maybe a 30 or 40-minute workout once a day, and like
Yeah.
that's hard to find time for right now.
Yeah.
So
And that's why it's like I got up, like I told you, I got up at like 7, and I was actually very shocked when I'm in the mindset of like go go go. I got so much done. I was like, okay, 7 o'clock. I gotta go to Home Depot. I gotta get this one screw to test on these parts. If I'm back by 8, okay, we're good. Like machine, we can get that going. Like I gotta test out this one up. I gotta make these soft jaws. Blah blah blah. If I could get these, like my goal is to get them shipped out before 1:30, which is the cutoff of overnight shipping, and we'll talk about that. But I'm like boom boom boom, and all of a sudden I'm done, and I'm like I let the parts tumble and everything, and it was like 10 o'clock, and I'm just like I did all that in 3 hours. Like that's pretty impressive. And I was like, I'm gonna let these tumble for 2 more hours. I'm gonna go to the post office at noon. And so like I just let them do their thing, did other stuff, and yeah. And speaking of overnight shipping, I guess I never understood how valuable it could be. In this case, I've got these parts. The customer wants a first article inspection, and I'm like, okay, I can send a priority, which is basically dirt cheap, anywhere from $10 or less, depending on how you pack it. And that'll get there in 2 days, depending on when you ship it, at what time of the day. And I'm like, okay. Or you could just spend flat rate of it's like $27. It's not even $30. And I'm gonna know tomorrow, and I'll be running parts tomorrow versus the following day. And it's like I will spend $30, less than $30 any day to get a whole day's worth of work. Like
totally. Yeah.
that is the most no-brainer thing I'm starting to realize. And so I'm like, the lady knows me at the post office. She's like, overnight again, and I'm like, yup. And it's like it's just a thing because it's like $30 for a day. Like, you know how much money I can make in a day? Like, I will gladly give anyone $30. I'll give you $200 if I can get a day. Like, seriously.
No, it's
Um,
totally true. Yeah, I completely agree.
yeah, it's really cool, and I'm glad I'm starting to kind of realize those things because it's like, I'm also looking. back to job shop work, I personally look at stuff. It's like, okay, could I get this job done in a day? Yes or no? And it's like, okay, am I happy with $500 in a day? Like, not really. Like, I feel like I could do 1,000, or I could do 2,000, or like, what do I feel? And then it's like, I don't really want to mess with it, type thing. Oh boy, I'm being filmed right now, or something.
Yeah,
And
I gotta put it on our stories.
oh yeah, I want to do that too. But yeah, that's I'm starting to value my time more. Um, and just you just got to be aware of that. I mean, if you could, let's say you're designing a new product. I know a lot of people out there are doing that. They have a machine in their garage or whatever, and let's say you're sending them to get anodized, you're sending them to get plated or whatever, and you could speed that process up by a day or two, like here and there. I mean, that's going to add up. Like, I'm developing a product that's taking me, like, I don't know, 6 to 8 months, and if I was overnighting things, I could have saved a week. How much is a week worth to you? I mean,
Right.
to me,
Exactly.
that's worth a lot. Like, you know how much I can get done in a week. That much further. If you're developing a product, that's a whole nother week you could have been selling the product. And how much is that worth? And it's just like, yeah, people out there need to take advantage of that. So if you're not, do it. USPS is what I use. I know you're a big FedEx guy, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we just have used them mostly. Like when we did work with Xometry, that was mostly who they shipped through. So I've
Okay.
got a good relationship with like all the people who work in the FedEx store. But like you see like a machine shop outlaw, like he's had what 3, 4 packages in the last couple weeks that have all been dropped or
Oh,
damaged by
geez.
FedEx. So it just seems like it's kind of really dependent on who works in your local hubs. Like UPS here lately has sucked. Like all of
Really?
our Arizona hubs are completely way overrun with packages. So like I've had multiple ones that I've like paid for overnight through MSC, and unless I paid for what is it, red, where it's like next day air
Uh
early,
huh.
it would not show up in time.
Yeah.
It would be like, oh, it's stuck in Goodyear, Arizona, and it's like, oh, there's a delay. Or like
Yeah.
yesterday, I bought a new drill to do deburring with at the shop, and it was like, oh, we've delayed your package due to like a train derailment, and I was like, what? Like I've never seen that notification.
Yeah, and like I bought something the other day from McMaster, some like tea nuts or something, and it was like, I don't know, you got to kind of leverage that, because it's like, save money when you can, but spend it when you can afford it with shipping. Because it's like, okay, these tea nuts, do I really need them? Like, no. Like, okay, do the slow version, but it's like, do I need that drill? Yes, I need to make parts now. Like, overnight that now.
Right.
Um, but like, yeah, I guess MSC, I normally order from them quite a bit, but I haven't been ordering from them lately. I know
Not
they're.
having that free upgrade sucks.
That's what I'm saying, right? Yeah. Because what was that? That was next day air, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It was
Okay.
express next day, so it wasn't the early morning one, but it was next day late or whatever.
Yeah,
And
which
it
is
was free.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, okay, yeah. I mean, I just bought some more helical tools from my distributor, but I mean, honestly, it's not that bad. I call them up; they know me as the guy that has the weird name, so they're like, "Oh, BrickTactical," and he's like, "Oh, you live in that spot of Washington?" I'm like, "Yeah, the one that you're not pronouncing properly." Yeah, and so they know me, and they're cool people, but like, it's just we've been there. But yeah, feel like I haven't been ordering much stuff. Just
So
stuff that's on
speaking
hand.
about helical, actually, somebody Robertson Machine Works on Instagram messaged us today
Uh huh.
saying that he buys his through productivity.com. It's like Productivity Inc., I think.
Okay.
And he just signed up for I think he said it was a free account, and they sell like Harvey, helical, all kinds of stuff.
Really?
Yeah, so I might uh, sign up for them and see what I can do, because I've said before, I don't really like the aluminum ones from Helical, but
Yeah.
their steel ones are like
Yeah.
top notch, good stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be worth it if I can get what I need. Yeah, they've got like Goering, Harvey, Helical, Hitachi, Mitsubishi, Kennametal, Kyocera, MA Ford, Micro 100, and Micron is
Oh,
in their
wow.
end mill category. So pretty good stuff.
Yo, shout out to everybody listening that works at a tool manufacturing company. We know you're listening. I'm down to be sponsored, so like, let's get this ball rolling here. I'll use your tools and I'll show them off. So, I really like half-inch end mills, 3 flute, 1 1/4 length to cut. That's my tool. Tool 11. I'll show it off for you.
Yeah, I've
Uh,
got plenty of room back here
yeah,
for the banner or something like that.
yeah,
You know.
exactly. I'm down. I mean, a while ago, who was it? I think it was Curtis that sent out like fusion banners. I don't know if you got one at the time.
Yeah, I'm looking at one right over my desk.
Okay, yeah, I got one downstairs too. So that was cool. That's smart for companies like that to do that type of stuff.
Yeah, I've got a ton of Fusion swag. I've also got like their mouse
Yeah, I
pad.
want one of those. Yeah.
I think I actually have an extra one. I'll send it to you if I can find it.
Oh yeah, with those stickers whenever you send those.
Yeah, and the T-shirts. Oh, I
Oh
might as
yeah.
well give them a shout out. Well, maybe I'll wait until I send you the stuff so we can do it
Okay.
together. We can wear the T-shirts and stuff. But
Oh yeah.
but
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Okay, yeah, that took a second.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll give them a little shout out. TMS Titanium. They sent
Yeah.
us a little care package because we referred some people to them. We much appreciated. I haven't made a post yet because I've just been too busy to do anything appropriately or on time. So, but we will as soon as I get the stuff to Payton, we'll both definitely throw up a post or something like that. It was much
Yeah.
appreciated. If you guys are listening, I don't even know, but
Honestly, I've got a whole wall downstairs in my shop that's like I've got a BrickTactical banner and I got a Fusion banner. If you guys are out there and you have like a cool banner and you want to send it to me, I will gladly show it off. Like, put that up there. Yes, we accept free stuff. Just DM us.
Terrible mid podcast plug.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a ton of questions. Should we jump into those for a little bit?
Yeah, let's do it. All right, I've got them pulled up here. All right, go for it. What should we do?
Let's start with Casey Thompson's, which is what's the hardest part of doing your podcast? So what do you think?
Do you want the sarcastic answer? I was going to say dealing with you, but that's easy.
I almost literally wrote that back to him in a DM as a joke.
Dealing with this guy.
Yeah.
I know, Dylan. I get it. The fly machinist is just, it's too much to handle, Someone messaged me, or I think they commented, and they were talking about like skateboarding and stuff. And I'm like, I know you listen to the podcast if you're making these references. But I would say, honestly, like, I wouldn't even say it's like finding the time because we've done it for so long. And like, I would say the first like month or two we were doing this, we were kind of like, when should we do it? Oh, what about then? Oh, what about then? Blah, blah, blah. Then we're like, all right, no, Tuesday, 5:30, we're recording. And it goes up the next day or the following day, depending on, if I'm busy and I can't edit it or whatever. And once we figured that out, like, I think that for me, like, it's just like, oh, it's Tuesday, it's podcast day. And I start thinking, like, it's not a burden really. So that's not really hard on my part. I don't know. Sometimes some of the questions you guys ask are really good, and it's hard to give you a clear-cut answer. I would say that could be difficult.
Well, especially because I'm not the best at giving you the questions ahead of time. So
yeah, I'm always the first to see these. I'm like, oh, geez, okay.
I could probably do better about that.
No, that's fine. I like it like that. It just kind of goes for it.
I definitely usually give them the Payton response of just double tapping their comment and then like continuing.
Oh my god, dude! I'm sorry. I'm not throwing shade at anyone, but if you do that, like, I just kind of judge you just a little bit. So like,
you did that to me the other day.
No, I did. Dude, do you not understand the fire I was in the other day?
Well, I that's how I knew you were busy.
Yeah, I was like,
I just saw the like, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll talk to you later.
Dude, that should never be a feature. No, roll back the algorithm now.
Yeah, right.
I don't see. This is the problem. What's hard about the podcast? Probably answering some questions that I probably don't know anything about, or I just don't know, um, and probably faking it.
Yeah,
But I
I don't
think I,
know.
I think we both said it though. Like I'm not claiming to be like a fifth axis genius over here, but like I feel like I know the lingo and like I understand it, but like I'm not saying like give me like a freaking engine block and I'll program it for you. Like no.
Right.
Um, so yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, it's not. It has come fairly naturally. Like I think the biggest hurdle for me was like getting comfortable talking about what I'm doing all the
yeah,
time, and like I don't know, just getting in that mindset. There are days that it's hard where I'm
yeah,
like so tired and I'm like clearly just stepping on my own words as I talk, and I just cannot put together a sentence for the life of me. But
yeah,
I don't know. I enjoy it. Like it's nice to get to we've talked about it a bunch of times. It's nice to get to commiserate with another machinist about like all of the struggles and all of like, oh, I hate this dimension, or oh, I hate this tool, or these stupid distributors,
yeah.
or whatever. Like so I don't know. I think that there have been hard parts, but like in general, it hasn't been that hard. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think it just emphasizes how cool the community is with the feedback and the questions we get. And like, I guess you hit it on the head. Like, some days it does suck. It's like crap. Like, I forgot, like, we have a podcast today. Like, and you have to kind of switch gears or stop what you're doing or whatever. But like we talk about on the audio only versions, and let us know if you want us to keep doing this or what. But sometimes we'll be like, I don't know how this one's gonna be, and we'll be like, oh, let's just give it a shot. Like, let's just go for it, and then it ends up being like a really good one. And like especially last week's, and I sent you that message, but I think last week's was like killer. Like I don't
Yeah,
know what it was, but like I told you, I'm just like we both were like we're getting used to like talking equally. Once again, this is new. Like I can see that you're not trying to barge in right now, which is like not intentional, but it's like you don't get that. And we just like we're both struggling with things, but we were giving each other advice on how to fix those things. We're like planning our futures, blah blah blah, and it was just like really packed. And like that 2 hours or whatever it was, like boom, like that went by in no time. And I was like, okay, like I'm actually glad that that was 2 hours because that was a valuable 2 hours, not like, okay, like when are we done, like type thing.
yeah. No, I definitely agree. It feels like we're kind of hitting our stride, getting used to talking to each other, what we want to bounce off each other, and things like that. Yeah, it was a really good one. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it too.
For not even meeting you, that's up for
Yeah,
debate.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah. Yeah.
Dylan's like,
No,
I gave you a hug and everything. And I'm like, what?
it's weird seeing you now though, because I'm so used to only seeing you on either stories or on
Yep.
your YouTube videos,
Yep.
and so it's like I'm watching a YouTube video, but
Dude.
interacting with it too.
Dude, sometimes at these Lego conventions, the parents are the ones that recognize me first. They're like, I recognize your face from always being on the iPad or my son's phone or whatever. And I'm just like, one lady came up to me one time. She's like, wait, I recognize your voice. Are you that YouTuber? And I'm like, what YouTuber? You're like, that one? Like, yeah, that's me. You're like, I know you. And I'm like, I don't know you, but okay. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it's funny how the world is turning into that. I feel like all the YouTubers out there are so used to that.
Yeah,
But
yeah, it's definitely strange.
yeah,
Um,
we got some interesting ones here. You
yeah, we
pick
do.
another one.
Yeah, so T5 Manufacturing asked, "Do you remember what your first job shop work was when you started out?"
Ooh, I'm trying to think. I have, I think, two. One of them was for that company that wanted to hire me, and I told them basically no, but I could help you make parts, and that kind of spitballed. And the other one was just that I messaged this pretty big guy on Instagram that does like gun related stuff, and I was like, "Hey, I see what you're doing. I'm a machinist. I'm a big fan. Let me know if you need any help. And he's like, actually, and this took like 2 months for him to read this message, but he got back to me. We actually became pretty close over text. And he's like, I got these 4140 parts. I don't feel like manually machining them. They're like literally like smaller than a dime. It's like 2 ops. And I was like,
Oh, geez.
sure, like whatever. Like, and I think it was like, what did I charge him? Probably not not
Not
enough.
enough.
Yeah, probably like I want to say a couple $100. Maybe it was 500. I don't remember, but it was for like five of these things, and it was really simple. But like I only had a high-speed steel end mill in the size I needed, so like my surface footage was here, and so my cycle time was here, and I was like, okay, a 40-minute cycle time for this tiny part, I guess is cool. Like whatever, and like I just was like, I got paid for this. Like, this is awesome. Like, I made these soft jaws, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I think that was, I want to say that's my first. So,
Nice.
yeah.
My first part was these little 316 fittings that
Okay.
we made. They were, I don't know, maybe this big. And they had like a bore in the center and two little wings, and they weren't super tight tolerance, but like it was the first time I had ever machined 316. Brad did it all the time in his day job. We bought Swift carb end mills,
Yeah.
and on the first part, I was ramping into the hull, and it was the first time I had really like I had just started playing with Fusion on my own. Like I'd use it at
Okay.
my day job, but not for very long. Um, and I misinterpreted what the ramp diameter value was. Like
Okay.
I thought it was the OD, or like the outside diameter of the spiraled hole, not the center line diameter of the hole.
Yeah.
And so I did a 2D adaptive down through this hole with a 3/8 what's it called, Swift Carb XM or something, and it made this little post, like
Yep.
maybe a 50 thou post all the way down. And when it came across the center to start the 2D adaptive, it just snapped the end mill off. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. And like at that time, the Swift Carb end mills were a pain in the ass to get anyway. And I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, and so like I found another one. I think it was the first time I ordered from Suncoast Tools because they had them too. And it took another week or whatever. And thankfully the customer was really understanding, and like, but it was just, to just have started your business and lose $100 right off the bat was
Like,
like,
let's go.
so yeah, but it was a good job, and like the parts came out great, and they were happy with them. So it all worked out, but it was one of those like, really check your simulation, start learning to do that, all that stuff. Because the second I ran the simulation up close, I was like, oh yeah, it's right there, you idiot. Like,
Yep.
how did you miss that?
Yeah. I think one of my buddies said it the best. He's like, I asked him how's business, and he's like, well, you make money where you can, when you can, and you're always gonna lose some here and there. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's about it.
Yep, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Uh, he also had another question that was for me, asking how the 3D printer improvements are working. I'm still dialing in the temperatures, like correct temperatures, because I've been kind of swapping out PLAs and trying to find what I really like the best. But as far as like the printer itself, it is so bulletproof now. Like I finally did the full, yeah. We need to get that thing going, man. Uh, Payton was pointing to his Ender 3 that is not under power on his desk behind him.
Hey,
Uh,
quick shout out. I'm gonna interrupt to Ferrotech that I checked out his shop the other day. He's got a mini mill and a Tormach, and he actually has an Ender, and he listens to the podcast, and he's like, "You don't have a glass bed on that?" And I'm like, "No." And he's like, "You want one?" And I'm like, "Sure." And so he gave me one for free. So shout out. That was really kind of him. So, and I mentioned to you, like, that's why I asked you. I'm like, "Do you use a glass bed or not?" So I don't know, some people say yes, some people say no.
yeah, I use it and it works
Okay.
great. It's hard to remove some stuff sometimes depending on what you put down. Like right now, the last 5 prints I've done, I've just used glue on the glass bed, and like I've
Just a
heard that
glue
I could
stick.
probably yeah, just glue stick.
Okay.
And then I scrape it off with the scraper that came with the printer. But I've heard that I can not even use that and it'd be all right. I just
Okay.
I don't want to screw around. I just want the print to be done.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it so far it's worked great. Pet's Fang duct. I went from the Bullseye, which is the one that uses the stock fans in a new mount, to their one that uses a 50-15 fan, so a
Okay.
bigger part cooling fan, so you can run hotter and go faster.
Okay.
Still haven't quite sorted everything out with that. Like I said, like I printed last night some mounts for those light remotes,
Yeah.
and like the first half of the part looks perfect, and then for some reason after about halfway it started getting all kinds of janky, and like it's still printed, but like the holes on the bottom look perfectly circular, and then the ones on the top half are like ovals. So like
Okay.
it I don't know if maybe my thermistor is not detecting the heat enough, or I don't know what's going on there. But as far as the printer itself, everything's working great. It's just kind of sorting out my settings in Cura, and I might switch over to Prusa Slicer because it seems like people really like that. So
Okay.
we'll see.
Yeah. Once I'd say in the next week or two, once things calm down, I will. I definitely want to tackle that because I've got, like I said, I got stuff that just needs to get made, and like I got stuff over there that's sitting that I SLA print, and I'm just like, you know what, this needs to get printed. Like, I don't even care if it takes 6 hours. It's gonna be like perfect though. But like this resin's expensive, and like
Yeah,
that's just not the right machine for the job. So
yeah, it's great for like I like the Form Labs at work because it's like so bulletproof for overnight stuff.
yep,
Like I'm like, oh well, worst case, like it sticks to the bed. It's
yeah,
not like gonna melt down and like lose me an
yeah,
extruder or
yeah.
something like
I mean, yeah,
that.
because I actually have. I don't know how well we're gonna try this webcam out. Like these products, like that's a helmet, and it's really
Oh yeah,
detailed. And like I sell these, and so like I'll run like a whole table full of them, and like that's a product. So like, and I have the same type of deal with like the normal um, FDM printers, and so it's like it needs to get going. So yeah,
yeah,
probably gonna get that glass bed on. And you use just like those paper clips to hold them on, those binder things or
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, I've got
Okay.
the small binder clips that just barely fit over it. And then the other thing you're gonna have to do is move your Z home stop, the
Okay.
one that like clips on. You're gonna have to actually move it up in the extrusion a little bit.
Okay.
But we can go over that together. Like
Yeah.
I can show you. Actually, I removed mine, but I can show you how to move it and stuff. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that'd be great.
yeah. I don't know. So go ahead and pick a question.
Well, this one's not for me, but Farmer Giles says, "Was the French girl photo really you?"
Yes, it was.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not that he's asking.
Well, and along with that, Andy H. Clark asked Payton, were you embarrassed by your co-host MTH apron
Oh
picture?
shoot, that's a great question. I saw it. The first one he posted, you had like a shirt on or whatever. And then
Yeah.
I saw the comments and they're just like, take your shirt off, take your shirt off. And I'm like, oh no. And then the picture got removed. And I'm like, oh, maybe Dylan chickened out. But then it comes back and Dylan doesn't have a shirt on. And I'm like, okay. Like, I don't even know if I liked it. I just like, okay.
Hey, I know a good idea when I see it,
No,
and I think it was. I think it was Chris, the pragmatic redneck, and he posted. He was like, "Oh, this would have been the best one."
yeah.
But and I was like, "All right, yeah, I could do that."
You should have got in there and like jogged down a face bill, like really close to your stomach or something, and then e-stop the machine. So it's like, all dramatic.
It was enough to get in there alone. I
I
was
want to
like,
actually check if I like that or not.
I'm gonna guess not.
I did not.
So there's your answer, Andy.
There you go.
Oh,
That's honestly hilarious. I don't like a lot of things. I just kind of look, anyways.
yeah, I don't know. I felt like I had to whole ass that. There was no
No,
half-assing
no.
apron holder. So,
Yeah. Who's got that now?
Angelo had it, and then he sent it off to somebody else.
Okay.
So I'm not sure who has it next now.
Okay.
But everybody before me had some kind of shirtless or assless chaps kind of picture, and so I was like, well, I got to do something. And my first thing was like, oh, I'll do it on top of the machine and I'll lay out like that. And then I was like, oh no, inside the
Yeah,
machine.
yeah, 100%.
Oh man.
All right, let's do some of H A blah.
Andy Clark's.
Yes, I like some of these questions because they're not machining related. Some of them are, but some of them aren't, and it's just kind of like random. And I don't know how he thinks of some of these, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
know. He's awesome with questions. Like he's sent us multiple pages of
oh
questions
yeah,
a few different times now. So
yeah.
much appreciated, Andy.
All right, so a couple of these are pretty rapid fire, but this one goes out to both of us. Favorite chips? That's like such a hard question.
I feel like if I'm going like guilty pleasure, like if I'm drunk and eating chips, I love flaming hot Funyuns.
Okay.
It's like such garbage food,
Yeah.
but that is my go-to like terrible snack.
What about like a normal day?
Oh, I don't usually eat chips. I
Fair enough.
don't know. Like I like salt and vinegar a lot,
Oh
actually.
yeah. Oh man. Ooh, there's so many. There's this one that's like it's like a mix. It's like what do they call it? Like the munchies or something, and it's all like hot stuff, and it's just like pretzels and stuff like that. Those are pretty good. You can only get them at like the gas station around here, but those are pretty good. And then he also asks to both of us if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Oh, that would be tough.
Teleporting would be pretty sick.
Yeah, I was gonna say time travel. So,
Ooh.
but I don't know if that's a superpower. I guess it could be.
Yeah, but see, like, I can't time travel to your shop.
No, that's true. But you could teleport here.
Yeah. But,
Yeah,
like,
that's fair.
being invisible would be pretty funny, too. But, like,
Yeah. Oh man, but if I could never commute again and
that's
just
what
like
I'm saying.
appear at my shop,
Oh, give me that end mill, Dylan. Bye.
yeah, exactly. I can get on board with that too, for sure.
Yeah. He also asks, do you have a hidden talent? Example, tying a cherry stem with your tongue, something stupid like that. I want you to go first because I want to see how deep you dig. Because I got one that I could think of.
Uh, hidden talents. I I I don't know if I still am, but I was pretty good at yo-yoing.
Oh yeah, okay.
Like there was a yo-yo club in my hometown in Hawaii. Like
Oh
I went
boy.
to that every week and like was really big into it until I was like 10 or 11.
Uh huh.
So
I
I
can like
think
walk the dog and do the one where you like throw it up. That's about it. Oh
so
man,
what about you?
that wasn't deep enough for mine, Dylan. Not gonna
Oh,
lie.
come on.
um, hidden talent, man. I think I can machine stuff pretty well. Hidden talent. See, this is what I mean. Like, I don't know. I don't know some of these questions. I don't know. Pretty boring.
Oh, come on. You got to have something.
Hidden talent. What's someone that's like, wow, Payton can do that? Yeah. I can't snap. That's a talent.
What?
So yeah, that's my reverse hidden talent that I can't snap, but I taught myself how to whistle one time, and that was pretty sick.
What, like with your fingers? Like,
No, I can't. Like, not happening.
I,
Yeah. So
I'd say that counts. That's just as dumb and surprising.
yeah. So and it's funny. I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, man, I can't snap. What a freaking loser! Like. Anyways, okay. Next one. What occupation or career did you dream of doing as a child? I'm still a child. I feel like we're both still children.
Well, and that gets into also Danny Rudolph asked if not machining or manufacturing, what job would you do? So we
Oh,
can kind of
what
answer.
the heck? Danny coming out of left field over here. I didn't even see that question. Oh
So
man.
what did you dream of as a child, and then what will you do if it's not manufacturing? Or what did you dream of when you were a younger child?
Yeah. I always wanted to. The one thing that always came up before I understood what college actually was, and that sounds no dumb, but I always wanted to be an engineer, which I just thought meant you come up with ideas and you make cool stuff, which I've now learned that's not necessarily the case. And I just always liked making stuff. I'd always go to my grandpa and be like, I want to make a ballistic knife. And he'd be like, what? I'd be like, yeah. He's like, from Call of Duty? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, all right, let's go get the PVC. Let's go find a spring. Like, and we made one. Like, it wasn't a real knife. Like, it was a rubber knife. But I'm like, pew, and like shooting this thing across the house. Or like, I want to make like a Claymore airsoft trap that like you walk past it and it sprays you with BBs. Like, this is all things that I want. Just was like day projects, right? Like, you got nothing to do on the summer and you're bored. Um, and then eventually one day I was like, I want to make injection molds, which was a longer day project. Um, but yeah,
That's still going on.
yeah, seriously. Um, I just always wanted to make stuff, so I don't know what you classify that as. Also, very young when I started YouTube, there was a very big part of me that's like, I want to be a YouTuber, which at the time didn't really exist. I feel like that's more recent that's like legit a thing. I remember people being like, I mean, this was 2010, 2011. It had only been out for 5 or 6 years, and like people knew of YouTube, but like people weren't called YouTubers. And so, but now you ask, there's like a percentage. I think Lego actually did a survey on kids, and like 90% of them or something were like, I want to be a YouTuber. And I'm like, that's awesome. Like, that's really cool, actually. So yeah, that's me.
Okay, and then what would you do if it's not manufacturing?
Oh, shoot. I guess YouTubing. I don't know what about. Um, I'm getting into making music. I think that's pretty cool. I'm trying to think. Yeah,
Pro
anything.
supporter.
Yeah, no, probably not pro, but at least learn how to ride one properly. No, I would say anything like art related. I'm starting to really. This is like not when I was. I guess this is more to Danny's question because this was not when I was a kid. This is more currently. But like, I'm really appreciating art, and I do think the machining is an art. It's a really weird form of art, but like it is definitely like an art. But
Right.
I'm starting to appreciate like, we talk so casually about like, oh, end mills, deburring, tool holders, blah blah blah. But like you go to like a guitar player and you could get that in depth with that same person, but about completely different things. And
Oh yeah.
it's just a subject matter. And so I really appreciate like people that are really good at what they do, and I have no idea how they do it. I
Yeah.
love,
Yeah, I love watching people nerd out on anything.
yeah, and I try to pick up those tidbits where I can. That's why I love Joe Rogan because he'll interview people, and I'll be like, I didn't think I'd be learning about factory farming today, but here we are. And so, yeah, I really like that.
Yeah. I think if I wasn't doing manufacturing or machining, well, I guess to Andy's question first, I was also somebody who was always making as a kid. Like my dad, he went to ITT Tech and he owned a carpentry business for years. And like we always had tools in our shop, in like our garage. Like we've never been able to park a car in our garage the
Yep.
entire time I've ever lived. It's always just been a wood shop.
Yep.
So I've always been making stuff. As a kid, I remember doing a project that was like, what are you going to do when you grow up? And I either really wanted to be a stunt driver
Oh boy.
or I wanted to be a industrial designer.
Okay.
So those were like the two paths that I had chosen. Um, and then if I wasn't doing machining or manufacturing, I would either love to be racing or I would probably be doing coding. Like I've been getting more and more into coding, like Arduino and Python and things like that. And there's just like so much money there, and you can work from home, and like it's relatively low stress compared to other jobs. So
Sure. Keep telling yourself that.
I mean, you'd own your own business or you do
Yeah.
something like that. It would be stressful, but it's like, you screw up a code for some social media app and it's like, oh, it didn't work. Not like, oh, somebody's dead. So like in the grand scheme of things, it's relatively low stakes.
Oops, the liking the comment feature is no longer the thing. Oh
Right.
no.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it'd probably be that. But I also like, I'm super big gearhead. I
I was
love going
wondering
fast.
about that.
I've had a
Yeah.
track bike for a long time. I've ridden on tracks. I've driven on tracks. I worked at the track that's like an hour and a half from here for a long time. I was their race controller and like would sleep in the race tower.
Oh,
Um,
geez.
yeah, it was awesome. It was
Yeah.
actually really cool. Uh, so yeah, I I don't know. Racing's expensive, coding's not. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Machining is expensive.
yeah, oh yeah.
Let's
Here's
see.
one for you. What's your all-time favorite product of your own that you no longer make? Oh, that's a deep question.
Yeah. Ooh. Ooh.
In other words, what are you bringing back?
Yeah. Oh man, that's a tough one because it's just like anything. Every product's like has taught me something about either how it's made or what sells, what doesn't. What do you do when it sells really well? What do you do when it doesn't sell at all? How do you get rid of it and break even? I would say one thing that I still make them, but they don't sell as well, and almost not at all. But the plate locker, if you look it up on my website, my old website, like it was pretty much like the staple product. Like you talk about X39 Brick Customs when that was me, or even earlier, just X39 Customs. Like that, like you knew, like, oh, X39, yeah, he makes plate lockers. Like that was a thing, and it's the idea that, like, man, I wish I had props. They're like these Lego base plates, these big ones that you buy. On the back side of them, they don't have a normal stud connection, so you can't build underneath them because of the way they're. I think they're. I don't know if they're injection molded or vacuum formed, but you can't build underneath them. So let's say you have two plates that you want to connect, you have to build on top of them to connect the two plates. And I was like,
Right.
what about why can't we connect something from the bottom? Like, why not? Like, you know. And so my grandpa and I, we came up with this. It was a urethane reinforced. We put not carbon fiber, fiberglass, and you basically have urethane sandwich of just really strong fiberglass. Like it, you could not tear the stuff, and you could get it underneath these base plates, connect them, and then it also acted as a non-slip like function. So you know, you building something on a table, now your thing's not sliding around, and it was thin enough that it wouldn't like cause any weird bumps or anything. And so that taught me a lot at a very young age. Like I'm talking like 12, 13, 14, about like product iteration. Like we went through every kind of urethane, every durometer. I learned what that meant. Durometer, you know, fiberglass, you know, going around, you know, it's just those little stories. It's like, we got to go get more fiberglass for plate lockers. And I'm like, I've never done this. And so we're like, yeah, like, let's go down to Tacoma, like, or Kent, the industrial areas of where I live. And like, whoa, what are all these buildings? Like, yeah, they all sell like industrial stuff. Like, what's that one? Oh, that's a metal store. Why do you need metal? Whatever. Like, you know, let alone, you know, stuff like that. And it's just like, that just taught me so much. And, you know, honestly, it could be a whole business on its own if it was marketed right. But once again, time is a thing of the past, I guess.
Is that something that you want to bring back? Like, would you invest more money into advertising it?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked with marketers, and my thing is like Andy Frisella. When I used to listen to him hard, he brought up a really good point, and he actually interviewed a marketer, and the marketer strategy to get customers was very smart. He said, "Look, let's say I'm trying to market plate lockers. He's like, I will do the marketing for free, get you the results, and then you pay me." And I'm like, that's how everyone that does marketing should do it. I'm not going to pay you and you can be like, oh, I'll sell thousands of these and then I sell 10. And it's like, dude, like, put your money where your mouth is, right? And so I told people that and they just run off. And I'm just like, this is just a red flag for me. Like, what's going on here? You either don't think you can do it or it's just impossible. Because, like, you know, if it retails for $15, like I told these guys, I'm like, I'm more than willing to spend like $5 if I can sell one. So, like, I will gladly drop a check for $10,000 if I can sell, you know, 10,000 of these things. But
Right.
show me, like, let's make, and I just kind of dropped that, after a while.
Have you ever done any Instagram advertising?
I haven't. I've done Facebook, and that was a while ago. Um, I know some of my competitors do Instagram, and I keep seeing them. So I need to try that. I need to play with that.
Yeah, yeah. I did it once. I sponsored a post just to like go through the motions of it,
Yeah,
just to like see. It was interesting. Like it
yeah,
I don't know. Like I had nothing to sell, so it's not like I saw any gains or anything like that. But
yeah.
it was just interesting to see like the reach and all
I
that
was about to
stuff,
say, yeah,
and like post clicks, and like you get a lot of that metric through just being a business Instagram anyway. But it
yeah,
was still pretty cool, and
yeah.
it wasn't too expensive. So
Yeah, I
I
need
don't know.
to I need to figure out like a product I want to do that with, or like make a generic one and be like, all right, $5 a day for a month. Let's see if sales are boosted or whatever. Because you
Yeah,
know the name, and it was so funny. I learned this in college. It sounds dumb, but I had always heard about marketing. I'm like, marketing, okay? You got products, you got to do marketing, whatever that means. And I was explaining to this guy, I'm like, I know there's people out there that would buy my stuff. They just don't know it exists. And he's like, that's literally marketing. I'm like, boom, I need to look into this. But I've kind of done it like the organic way of like just growing a YouTube following that happens to go to Instagram, that happens to go here, and that happens to like me and buy my stuff. And so it's nice that you can do it kind of both ways, but obviously there's limits to both of them.
yeah, totally.
All right, we
That was a
got
good question.
yeah, that was really good. We got one for you, and it says, "Is it possible to add probing to your other brother machine so you use it more? It seems like you use the newer one more because of the probing."
I don't think I can add a spindle probe, but I can add a tool setter, which we've talked about, and I might go through with it. It's a couple $100 to get like a Chinese one and then wire it up. It would help, but I think I just talk more about the Speedio too. Like
Because you
whenever I'm
like
doing
it.
stuff, yeah, well, like whenever I'm doing stuff on the TC, it's like repeat work that's not all that exciting, and it's like, oh, I set it up and it runs really well, and I don't know, there's not really much to show or see or anything like that. Whereas like the Speedio for me is still like new and fresh and cool, and so like I talk about it and I post pictures on it and all that stuff a lot.
I mean, if
But
you guys listening want more pictures of the older machine, I'm sure Dylan can work this out.
yeah, I do need to post more about it because it's a great machine. Like I
Yeah,
really for what we paid for it and for like how old it is, it works really really well.
yeah.
So I can't complain
Do you
at all.
ever go on people's Instagrams like whenever? Normally for me, it's like late night, and I'll like, for example, I'll go on your Instagram and I'll go way back, and I'll be like, what was Dylan doing in like 2016? And like, I saw like when you just got that machine, and I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. Like, I'm like going back in time right here, like looking at freaking pictures of this old brother that's like zipping around, and I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty neat, like seeing how everybody's grown. Like
Yeah,
most of the people I follow, the Instagram community is pretty cool. Like I feel like everybody's really motivated, and so not many people are stagnant in what they're doing,
yeah,
I guess.
that's true.
Well, let's jump into somebody else's questions, and we'll go back and finish off Andy's
Okay.
questions. Um, Rob Townsend asked, "What part of running a business has caught you off guard?"
How expensive it is.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that. What is it that Saunders says? Like cash eats growth, or growth eats cash for breakfast.
It's so true. But like, no one told me that. Like, hey, you're starting a business. That's cool. Make sure you have a lot of money in your bank account. Like, no one tells you that. Like, and then all of a
Yeah,
sudden it's like, oh, you have to pay $200 for this. You have to like. It just, I just can never believe how quickly credit cards can add up. It's ridiculous. And like I've
well, it
said it.
reminds me of there's an old saying about race teams. It's how do you make $1 million racing? You start with $2 million and you go racing,
Yeah,
and it's like you make money with a business, but yeah, you never realize like how much goes into it and how much like you're like, oh man, I'm just burning through money to make it through like these orders.
yeah. And I had a friend come over and help me work on some stuff, and he was asking me those questions. He's like, "How much was this? How much was that?" And I'm like, "You see that little, like, I use like shop towels, right? And I fold them up into fourths, so they're like, I don't know, like 5 by 5. They're tiny, and I set them and I put tools on them or whatever. And I had one where I had all my tools that I'd pulled out of holders, and I'm like, "You see that towel right there?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You see everything on it?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "That's probably $500 right there." And he's
Yep.
like, "For those drill bits?" I'm like, "Bro, those are some fancy drill bits." And
Yeah,
like,
I
it's just
totally.
like your head just hurts, like looking around. Like I look at your shop and I'm just like, I just understand it. It's just like you look around and you're just like, you're obviously here because you've got the stuff to be here, and like everything's got to get paid for. Um, but
Yeah,
it's nice those things that once you have it, right? And especially for these people starting out, like that, getting the machine is what they need to have it. Um, but as you scale, you learn that it is just tooling, and yeah, it's not cheap. Like you said, definitely have some change to spend if you're trying to start any kind of business.
yeah. Well, like Adam the machinist, he posted today about his little micromotor deburring tool.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh, that's so cool! I want one. And then I found it on Misumi, and it was $1,000. And I'm like,
you still
oh,
want one?
yeah, I still do want one,
Yeah,
but I'm not spending $1,000
yeah.
on it. I immediately went to eBay and was like, oh, I wonder if there's a used one. I was like, nope, there's no
No.
used one.
Yep. Yeah. That's a good question though. Other than that, it's a lot, takes a lot of time. I also, when I was working 30 hours a week, 30 to 40 during the day at another machine shop, and then coming back home and doing this, I was always scared to lose that. And like, I was like, what do I do? I got this machine, like, and I am so glad I made that jump sooner than I did, because if I was in this position I'm in now, like, obviously that would have been a no-brainer, but I didn't know that. But like, the fire was burning, like it was happening, and like, you just gotta, I don't know, like, what was the question even again?
What surprises you about running a
Caught
business?
off guard. Yeah, is just like, you got to take those leaps sometimes sooner than you think. But like you said, like when I remember, and I say this all the time, but like when you were like texting me, you're like, "I might buy a new machine," and I'm like, "What? Like what?" And then
Yeah,
you're like, "Don't say anything on the podcast. I'm just like thinking about it." I'm like, "Okay," and then then like you do it, and you're so happy, and I'm just like, "This is what I mean." Like, you sometimes, if you keep thinking about it, like, it normally means it should happen. So make it happen.
yeah, exactly. I think another part, and actually you brought it up earlier too, that I don't know if it caught me off guard, but it surprises me continually, is your customers, if you are like honest and deny them or say, oh, I can't do that. Like I've had a few customers where they send me stuff and I'm like, I'm just gonna have to no quote, like I don't have the right machine for it. Here's a good person for it, or blah blah blah. Like every time I've done that, they have come back and been like, I really appreciate you being honest. I really appreciate, I appreciate your integrity.
Yeah.
Thank you. Or even like being late on stuff. Like you feel like the world is crumbling around you when you're late on work for customers. And then you send it to them finally and you're like, I'm never going to get a quote from them again. And then like 2 days later, they're like, hey, can you do this? And you're like, oh, okay. It's not that big of a deal. I'm
Yeah.
not the, biggest piece of garbage in the world like I thought I was.
Yeah.
Um, so it's never as bad as you think it is, I think, is what continually catches me off guard.
Yeah. My favorite saying lately is "people are people," and like, in a good and bad way. But in this case, yes, like everyone understands. Like, people have bad days, things get delayed and that are out of your control. Packages don't show up. Like, everybody understands that, and at least only the mature people like conceptualize
Right.
that and understand that. They're like, "Oh, maybe he didn't get the tools he needed. That's why he's late. Maybe he's just not lazy, right, or whatever." And so, yeah, I would say, like you said, running into customers that are actually pretty cool people. You're intimidated, right? Because you're like looking up at them, and you're like, "Oh, like, you're giving me the money, you're giving me the work, thank you." And it's
Right.
like, and they look down, they're like, "Dude, like, step down on this level, like, shake my hand, like, we're cool, like, just help me out and I'll help you out," type thing. It's like, All
Right.
right.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah. And then his other question was probably more for you: rollerblading or skateboarding.
I guess for you too. Do you know how to do either?
I've done both. I've
Okay.
owned both, and I I don't know. I don't do either anymore.
Yeah.
If that answers the question.
Rollerblading, I've never done. Skateboarding, obviously, I'm trying to figure that out. But yeah.
All right. And I can't remember if it was him. I'm looking right now. Somebody was like, by the end of the year, you got to get a kickflip down.
Oh gosh.
So better get going.
Yeah. Once these
Oh,
parts.
it was Ian Bresnahan. I think I'm saying that right. Ibrez
Okay.
on Instagram, and he's actually the last two questions.
Okay.
He said, "Make sure you wear a helmet on your skateboard." He's had too many head injuries from riding, and that you better be safe than sorry. And your goal is to kickflip by September. He didn't even say end of the year.
Wait, July, August, September. What?
You got 1 month.
Dude, I'm like already. I just get scared looking at the thing, and you're telling me to do it. Well, then again, I told my story about my experience the other day with that guy. So then again, yeah,
Yeah, you'll probably do it.
yeah. Honestly, I've heard of that trick. I need to kind of watch a YouTube video because I don't really know what it looks like when you do that. So
You got to watch. There's a YouTube series called "Do a Kickflip," and these guys just ride around like California in cars and just yell like "Do a kickflip" to random skateboarders. And if they do it, they like throw a merch or like
what the
headphones.
heck?
And like one of them, it's Tony Hawk doing
Oh
it.
my gosh, that's
It's
funny.
super funny.
Do a kickflip.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I'm watching this. Okay, little
you'll
intimidating.
be able to do it.
Yeah, man.
JSP Fab, his son was just doing a bunch of them on his stories the other day.
Oh, it's like an ollie.
Yeah, but you flip the board around.
Oh yeah, okay. This guy's doing all sorts of things then. Oh Jesus.
Yeah, it's an ollie, but you kick the front end of the board with your toe as it comes off, and it spins the board 180, and then you land on it. Or 360.
I don't know about the landing part. Sorry, you could clip the last 5 seconds. I just watched my reaction of this guy doing this.
Yeah, no, we're definitely not clipping that. People are going to watch your reaction. This is one reason to go ahead and, even if you listen to the podcast audio, definitely go and watch through a few minutes of the video version.
Yeah, and see how you like it.
It's fun getting to see your face and like
Yeah.
talk face to face, even if it's over video.
Yeah, yeah. And then let's see. I saw
Go for
another
it.
one. This one's from Frederick FW. How does it feel being awesome? Is this to both of us?
Yeah, I think so.
I hope so. I don't know. It feels awesome to me.
Yeah, I think it feels pretty awesome. I definitely don't feel like I am all the time,
Yeah,
but
no.
I do appreciate the compliment veiled as a question.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, what the heck? Adam the Machinist asks some interesting ones. What is this? Which one of you would win in a cage match? Jesus. Are we like against each other or like in general?
I think so. I think if we're boxing in a cage match.
I mean, how tall are you?
6'2".
Okay, I'm 6'2". Oh man.
I think I've got about 100 pounds on you though.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna run from you. Yeah.
And his other one, I didn't put the full thing there, but I'll read it off Instagram.
See, this is how Dylan gets me, guys. He doesn't put the full question in here, and then he butchers.
Yeah, I get lazy.
Yeah, then he butchers the names of the people. So he does this on purpose, actually.
I'm super good at butchering names. I think everybody knows that by now.
So I get extra caught off guard.
So his other question was, do either of you employ a driver? I've had my retired father-in-law running parts for me versus shipping in-state, and everyone is happy with the situation. I get my parts same day, and he has a nice source of beer money.
Oh, like for local customers?
Yeah.
No, I do everything.
Yeah, same. Well, I don't employ a driver, but Brad, my other half of Proteum, he does a lot of the driving during the week because I work. So I'll finish stuff up at night and be like, hey, can you drop this off at FedEx? Hey, can you drop this off at so and so? Because we've got a few local customers, and so he'll do all that, thankfully. And I feel bad about it, but at the same time, it's just part of running a business.
I guess I forget that. I mean, I'm starting to ship more parts, and I know you do that too. But I guess also the driving to the post office. Luckily, mine's like 3 minutes away, and one thing that Kelvin told me to do, because I don't know when I mentioned this, but USPS does pickups. You can go on their website and like he's like do it twice a week at like whatever time and just put them outside and don't even worry about it again. And like part of me is like, yeah, that'd be nice, but then again, I have to check my PO box for packages anyways. Like you build that relationship, they like you. I don't know behind the scenes if they treat my stuff any better or not. Like it's not that far away. So for my specific like scenario, I'm gonna probably just keep going. It's also like a nice 10-minute get out of the house, get your head out, right? Um, but then one thing that I forget to do is with local customers. I started doing it heavy in the beginning, and I don't know why I forgot, but like I charge them for my drive time. Like if you're 30 minutes away, like that's an hour round trip. Like what do I want hourly for driving? I want $40 an hour, so I'm gonna tack on $40 for delivery, or you can come pick them up. Like you pick. So like
Right.
I would do that, and it's those little things.
Yeah, no, that's smart. I didn't even think about that, but I think the biggest thing is like a few of our local customers are like, oh, we'll come pick up, but it's like we work such sporadic hours that it's like, I don't know, you want to come pick up at 8 p.m.? Like you're happy to do that. I've got like one or two local customers that have done that. They're like, oh, I'll meet you there at 7 o'clock or whatever. But that's not a bad idea. Yeah, I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, and then one of my actually customers, he's like, I'm like between their company or like one of the employees, like the head engineer. He's like, I'm in the middle of his commute, so like normally he'll just stop by like as he's going home or something, and I'm just like, oh yeah, perfect. Like, and he likes coming to chat, so it works out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right.
So another one from Andy. What country would you like to visit on vacation?
Ooh. Depends on the time of the week you ask me. Like right now, I don't want to go anywhere that has to do with manufacturing, to be honest.
Yeah.
But if you ask me on another day, I might be like, I want to go to Germany, or like to check out like I don't know what's in Germany, DMG or something. I don't know. Or like Japan would be pretty cool. That'd actually be really cool for both reasons.
Japan is awesome.
Yeah, you've been there?
I went 3 or 4 years ago.
Uh-huh.
It was amazing.
Okay, yeah.
Highly recommended.
Yeah.
I'll have to post a picture on our With Intolerance podcast. The best thing I did in Japan was, I don't even know if it's still around. There's this company called Maricar,
Okay.
and you can rent go-karts, and they take you around with a tour guide, and you drive go-karts dressed up like characters from Mario around the streets of Tokyo. And like you're on the actual streets in a little like 50cc go-kart, and like literally every single person is taking pictures of you. And like I had people running out into the intersections at stoplights to take like selfies with us. And we were super lucky because we went on like apparently a really non-busy day, and it was just Brad, me, and our guide.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he turned around at the first light and was like, how fast do you guys want to go? And I was like, just keep it pinned. Yeah. Like, just go. Yeah. I was like, we both ride motorcycles. Let's do it. Yeah. And dude, we like literally just were pinned in these little go-karts around Tokyo, and it was fantastic.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and it was only like $60 or $70 a person.
Oh yeah, I bet.
For like 2 hours. Like it was a long time.
Yeah, Japan would be cool. Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Yeah. I really want to go to New Zealand and Australia, like really badly.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of where else. I want to start traveling a lot more. I just haven't had time.
Yeah.
I want to go to Thailand.
Okay.
Thai food.
I honestly want to go to Vietnam too. I think that'd be really cool. I've seen my old coworker was from Laos, and I think they were both from Laos. 2 of the guys were, and they just nonstop crazy stories about growing up. I forget about some of these stories, like how this one guy and this is like, he was not a bullshitter, and tiny little guy, and he been working at this company that I used to work for since he was 18, and he's like 40. And so, like, man, he was telling me how they would run around with knives, all the boys, in like this village, and like they would literally like fight each other with knives, like, and like legit stabbing. And I'm like, what? And like another thing he told me about is how he fell in a well, and like they thought he died because he hit his head and went unconscious, and so they were gonna, and no one knew he fell in. And so he eventually woke up, and luckily his uncle just happened to look down the well and was like, "Oh, there's my like nephew down in this well." And like, so they had to like drop down a rope and like get him out. And he showed me the scar on his head, and I'm like, "Oh God, like you are 100% serious." And like,
Oh my
and like
goodness.
how he would go in the water and had to pull leeches off his legs constantly. And I'm just like, dude, you've lived a life. And but like him also telling me like, yeah, you can get like dirt bikes and just go crazy for super cheap. And I'm just like, ooh, that's pretty cool. Like that would be pretty sick. And just like
Totally.
the total different change of pace would be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Asia in general is like super interesting.
Yeah.
I'd actually totally different side of the world, but I'd love to go back to Vancouver also.
Uh-huh.
We When I went to Japan, we had a 24-hour layover in Vancouver each
Wow.
way because it was like super cheap tickets. And I've got a friend up there that I met. I haven't in a few years, but I used to work at the World Superbike and MotoGP races out in at Laguna Seca in California, and I met a guy out there that's a Mountie in Vancouver, and so when we went there, he put us up both ways and showed us around, and it was like gorgeous. Like it
Yeah.
was so pretty. Just such a really cool town, and I just didn't have enough time there. I'd love to go back and kind of explore more.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, there's like very few places that I don't want to go. I guess is the like
Yeah, and even like there's plenty of places in the U.S. that I haven't been to. Like
same.
I've
Yeah,
never been to New York, like
yeah, yeah. Neither have I, and I really want to.
or like places like that, or like Utah or something like that. I don't know. So there's yeah,
Yeah,
good question.
that was a great question.
All right, we got one from myself from him again. What type of skateboard did you buy? Like what brand? I honestly don't know. It was from Zoomies, so and
I should have guessed.
yeah,
That's
and
where I came from.
it was crazy going in there. Like everything was picked clean. Like they had one longboard that I was playing with, and they had like 3 or 4 skateboards like were like actually built and put together. Everything else was like parts, and the lady was like, "I'll be honest with you, like even if you pick some of these parts out, like we don't have enough to build a full board for you." And I'm like, "Well, then I don't want that. Like I'm trying to leave with a skateboard." And so
Right.
like I ended up picking like it's actually a chick, like not a chick. The style of the board is a chick style. Like it's a girly skateboard on the back, but it doesn't look that girly. So I'm like, you know what? That's kind of sick. And I might post a picture of it on my story, but I think it's pretty sick. But that's where I got it. And yeah, it was just interesting talking to them about like the whole virus, how that's impacting stuff like that, because everyone's bored and trying to do stuff, right? Um,
Yep.
and I was that awkward guy that's in the back of the store riding around for like 2 hours trying to decide between 3 boards. Like, what do I want? And they had to like meter people to go in the store because of like safety or whatever. And I'm just like, first thing I said to them, I'm like, I'm gonna be honest, like I'm gonna be that guy that's gonna be here for a while. So like, I'm so sorry, but like, you're gonna get a sale out of me. So
Yeah. You're like, I'm guaranteeing you money.
yeah,
It's gonna take me a little bit.
yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's great. Uh, let's see. Jeffrey Lowry had a great question. Time management in the shop. Do you have a to-do list, Asana, Trello? Do you have a better system?
I've tried all of those, and as of right now, I don't have any system in place.
I have also tried. I haven't tried Trello, but I have tried Asana, and I still have the plugin, and I don't think I've logged into my company one in a very long time.
Yup.
I deleted the app too. I
Yep.
was like, because I was even using it for time management on jobs. Like, there's a plugin for Asana called T-Metric.
Okay.
So you can start a timer for certain things, and so I was like adding timers to all my jobs so that I could track actually like how long I'm spending on the jobs, and it was just like too much to keep track
You
of.
forget or not use it or
Right, right. I think we talked about it a while ago. I have that bullet journal app that's
okay.
only on Android, unfortunately,
Okay.
and that thing is killer. Like, I use that to track fitness goals and work stuff, and like I can set reminders and all that. It it's nice because like you can either send things to the next day when you know you're not going to get to them, or you can complete them, or you can like mark them as started, stuff like that. And so that really works for me so
Yeah.
far. Uh, but yeah, that's about it, unfortunately.
I'm really big on. I don't know what I'm big on. Like I write post-its that end up all over my desk, and then I get tired and pissed off at looking at them, so I end up doing it. And sometimes they end up being moved around to places that I don't normally look for them, just because I don't want to do them, and that's a problem. Um, but yeah, like I got two post-its. I got to email this company, and I got to work on this. They're right here, and so it's like okay. And then I'm like so fast paced. Like I don't want to write it down. Like just go do it. If you can do it, just do it. But if you can't, I normally email myself because I love seeing zero emails. So like if there's that one email in the subject's like do this dumbass, I'm like okay, like crap, I have to do that because I'm not gonna just delete that email without doing it. So yeah, I would say yeah, little weird things like that. Or like I'm big on setting timers on my phone. So like if I know like I have to do something, I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna do this for 30 more minutes. Like I'll set a 30-minute timer, and once that timer goes up, I'll be like, okay, I need to go do that, and I'll go do that, and I'll come back. Or like I just leverage like little simple things like that.
Yeah, that's smart.
So
Yeah, post-its are the same way for me. Like, if I leave them, or like notifications on my phone,
oh
like I
my,
know if somebody emails me and it's something I need to respond to, I will not open it on purpose because I hate seeing notifications. And so like I know I'll take care of it by the end of the day.
see, since I have my own email, like it's not a Gmail or whatever, like I'll get a notification on my phone and I'll read it and then I'll forward it to my email. And so once again, it's just there. And it's just like a to do list at that point.
Yeah,
So
that's a good idea. All right, another one from Andy. Favorite type of chewing gum?
I don't chew gum.
I don't either.
Yeah, it's not good for you.
I like mints if I'm gonna have something like that.
I'm a fruity guy. That fly machinist, you know?
That fly fruity machinist.
You know what I'm saying?
That sounds like a t-shirt right there.
Yeah. Oh, I just thought of it. Fly machinist to put a fly cutter. Boom. Done.
I like I
Send
like
it.
that.
Do either of
Um,
you collect anything? Coins, beer steins, action figures, doll? I mean, well, can you, if you're on
yeah,
the video, like, you could just observe.
just look behind Payton, and it's hundreds of Lego
Oh,
figures.
you weren't supposed to
Everything
say
from like,
anything. It could have been a surprise.
oh yeah. Well, I won't say what's behind you then, but
Yeah,
like
don't look at
you've
that
got some
one.
kits up there.
Yeah.
You've got like a kit right above you that like I didn't even think you could buy anymore.
Wait, I need to look at my camera. Yeah, like all this stuff is old. This is custom that I built. That's a CNC machine. That's a little Haas machine. That's all figures that I've made or collected, and that's all military stuff that no one sells. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. Like, I used to collect it, but like I said, I can't tell you the last time I bought a Lego set and like actually wanted and like sat down and built it. I have a bunch of old ones that it's always kind of fun every now and then to get friends together and build like a giant one, and just like listen to music and eat food and build this giant set together. That's kind of cool, but I don't like actively collect anything other than like I was gonna say business debt, but that's not true. Um, uh, but like end mills, I feel like I'm a pretty good collector, or something like that. But it's not intentional.
Yeah, I have in the past been like a collector of like projects. Like I had like a few project bikes. I
Yeah,
had a track bike that needed work. I had cars that needed work. I've slowly kind of weaned myself off of that just due to lack of space.
yeah.
Had my business partner is like way worse than I am. I think he's got 9 project bikes and 2 that are running or
Oh my
something like that.
god.
Um, so like we are very much kindred spirits as far as that goes. Um, lately I've been a collector of like business books that I'm not gonna read. I got a big old stack on my bedside table that I look at every night, and I'm like, oh yeah, I should read a few pages or just go to sleep. I'll probably just do that.
Catching a pattern here, Dylan, with all of these.
Yeah, well, lack of time. It's one of those things that I keep telling myself, like, oh well, when you go full time, that's you can start reading again when you go
No,
full time.
you'll just keep doing the same thing, but more of it.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah,
I'll be able to sleep more.
that
That I'm looking forward
yeah,
to.
that's important. That's really important.
But yeah, I don't really collect anything.
Man, all sorts of favorite type of movie. I just don't watch movies. I like you could name like a super classic movie, and I'd be like, what? Like, and everyone hates on me for that. But like, dude, like I've been working for the past 10 years of my life. I don't got time for no movies. Like, and that's the honest truth. Like I struggle with like I'm gonna sit down for 2 hours and not be productive. But like I'm starting to realize like you might not be productive, but you're productive like mentally calming yourself or like whatever you want to like. And I'm starting to realize that, and I don't know, just like a good movie, whatever that means. Like
But
I don't like.
like if you were gonna go put on a movie right now, what would you be looking for? A comedy?
I think a lot of these comedy movies are so stupid. I'm sorry, but some of them it's like okay, cool actors, but what are we doing here? Like, but like I hate horror movies. I think it's really cool how you can make someone feel those freaking emotions through a film. Like that's insane. But like nah, like I like sleep. Um, like I already don't get enough of that. So when I do get it, I don't want to be like worrying. um,
Right.
but like I don't know, like Marvel, like Iron Man, stuff like that. I like that. The Batman series, that's great. Star Wars, obviously. Um, and then his other questions, all-time favorite movie. Like I love Top Gun. I think that's a great movie. When I first watched that when I was younger, I'm like, okay, like this is Top Gun. Like I understand life now. Like okay, like this makes sense. And then this is the one excuse whenever someone makes like if I make a Top Gun reference in front of like someone's parents or something and they get it, but like the person doesn't get it, I'm like, dude, like, what are we doing here? Like,
Yeah. What are you teaching these kids?
yeah,
Come on.
like what is going on here? Like your son or daughter doesn't know Top Gun. Like I can't make a joke about this. And like, but then I'm the opposite. Any other movie, don't know anything about. So that's about it.
Okay. I'd say I probably lean more towards comedy movies.
Okay.
But I like a lot of different movies. Like favorite horror movie would be like Cabin in the Woods,
Oh
which is a
God.
fairly recent.
Ooh,
And
ooh.
it's like kind of a comedy horror one. That was a good one. Comedy, like I love Super Bad. Like I
Okay.
grew up like that was like a pivotal movie when I was a early teen,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Um, I love like I actually just watched a table read of it. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. If
Okay.
you've never seen it,
No.
it's based on a graphic novel and it's hilarious and like really well cast. Like there's a bunch of people in it that weren't very popular at the time and now super are. Like Captain America's in it.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, Chris Evans.
Yeah.
Uh, that's like one of my all-time favorites. But I also love some of the classics like Pulp Fiction. I love. I watched that a million
Yeah.
times. I don't know if I can narrow it down to one. Like I like there are like ones that stand out to me in every category that I'm like, yeah, that's like the epitome of that genre for me. But nothing that I'm like, this is, I could watch this and nothing else for the rest of my life.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. In movies, to be honest, I'm more of like, if I'm gonna watch TV, which is very rare, it's more YouTube. But like, I'm more of like, I'll watch documentaries. I'll watch like actual like TV shows.
Yeah,
Like Breaking
I
Bad.
watch shows a lot.
Yeah, like Breaking Bad, hands down favorite series. Like I love that. That was so well done. Um, Honestly, like tied for second place would be like the old MacGyver series. I found my mom got me that like a set of DVDs when I was like 13 or like probably even younger. And she's like, just watch this, just give it a shot. I'm like, what the heck is this? She's like, yeah, this guy fixes stuff. Blah blah. I'm like, yeah, whatever, Bob the Builder. Like, what is this? Like, and I watched it. I'm like, this is insane. And then like I just remember in fifth grade, everyone would be like, hey, what happened? Like with MacGyver, like I couldn't come over, and I'm like, dude, this character came back again, and they're like, no way, and I'm like, yes, and I'm like, you gotta come over, I'll gladly rewatch it with you, and like, so yeah, that I would say more shows for me.
Yeah, I watch a lot of shows. Like I'll put shows on in the background
Yep.
too when I'm working like on CAD and stuff, just because like usually it's not anything new. It's just stuff that I've already seen that like I don't know. It's good background
Yep.
noise. Um, yeah, I watch a lot of shows too. Like I feel like I don't know. Like there's certain shows that are like comfort food for me
Yep.
too. Like Malcolm in the Middle, I watched as a kid. Like the two shows I would go to if I was sick and I was a kid were Malcolm in the Middle or Star Trek: The Next Generation, and
Yeah.
I would watch those on loop for the rest of my life if I had to, no problem.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think I definitely connect more with TV shows than I do with movies.
Yeah. Just longer plots and yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
All right. So Ian asked, "How do we deal with waste oil, wastewater, and chip recycling?"
Waste oil. I haven't really had any waste oil. When I emptied my boy machine, which was probably 60 gallons of hydraulic oil, I put that on Craigslist for free, and someone came and picked it up.
What?
Yeah, um, and supposedly people make like diesel out of it, and like, or they just burn it and stuff. And I'm like, all right. Um, and then wastewater. I don't know what kind of wastewater I would have. I mean, if it's that dirty, I guess I'd properly dispose of it. But if it's just like water, I'm just gonna dump that out. Um,
Yeah, I don't really make much wastewater either.
yeah, I guess coolant would be another thing that he might also probably want to know about.
Yeah, I think that's what he meant by
Okay,
waste oil.
yeah, like I've said before, I've never had to like dispose of coolant, and my coolant stays so clean because I just freaking run a mold, and then half the tank evaporates or whatever it is. So like I'm constantly like, yeah, it just keeps disappearing on me, which is fine. It keeps my machine
Yeah,
all sticky though. Other than that, um,
right.
and then chip recycling. I've talked about this. I went recently, and it's just not worth my time. And it's messy. I just bag them up and put them in my garbage can, and it just gets hauled away.
Yeah, as far as waste oil or waste coolant, we now have a place that'll come down from Phoenix and take care of it for us for 80 or $100 a 55-gallon
Oh
drum, something
wow.
like that.
Okay.
It wasn't bad at all, and like we had 200
Oh
gallons
gosh.
of coolant just sitting in the shop for like a year and a half or 2 years.
Wasn't this recent too? You got rid of this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was awesome because like when we switched back from Blazer to Qualichem, I had Brad ask the Qualichem rep like, "Hey, who do you guys use to recycle it?" And he was like, "Oh, I call this place, and they do weekly pickups down in Tucson." And so like we called them, and they came down and did it. And then I don't think you can see it, but like way back in the corner back there, there's the two black 55-gallon drums.
Okay.
And those they gave us, they were like, "Here's empty ones, so you can fill these up, and we'll come and take them whenever you call us."
Oh
So,
nice.
yeah. And then as far as chips, we go once a month, maybe once every 3 weeks, down to the chip recyclers and get $50 or whatever,
Yep.
and go out for a nice lunch, and that's about it.
Yep.
It doesn't take us that long. Like, it's not too far from the shop, and usually we go to lunch like once a week anyway. As kind of like a company meeting, and like just talk about what jobs we have open, talk about what's on the horizon, what our goals are, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
So it pays for one of those, which is nice.
Yeah, seriously.
We're like, oh, it's time for sushi and sake and not Burger King,
Yep.
So, well, that kind of wraps up the questions, I think.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for contributing.
Holy crap. It's been an hour 45.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
So what have you been researching this week?
Ah, crap. Always forget about this segment. Oh, man. I guess it has only been a week because we didn't have a guest. Normally, I got 2 weeks of researching I can do.
Yeah.
I should honestly just be checking my Google search history.
That's usually what I do. I pull up whatever open tabs I still have on my phone. I'm like, huh, what have I been looking at? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Well, here, I'll go first then.
Go for it.
I've started listening recently to, I want to say it's called like I'm Not an Expert, and it's the guy who runs Prometheus Lights.
Yep.
Him and another guy's podcast.
Okay.
And I don't know if you listened. Somebody posted it on the Discord too. I think it's their most recent episode. He talks about ordering the wrong lathe and not realizing until after it was already installed.
What?
Yeah, like the title of the episode's like the $120,000 mistake, and like he.
Oh, that's what that was. Okay.
Yeah. I went back and listened to it, and like he bought a lathe, went through all the paperwork, got it installed, and then that night that it was installed, he went to go kind of jog it around and get used to it, and was like, I forgot to buy a Y-axis lathe.
Oh my god.
And so like it was a sub-spindle live tool lathe with no Y-axis, and that's like one of the main reasons he got it.
Wait, what brand was it?
Haas.
Oh, yes. Can you send me that? Because I saw that and I was like, this has got to be a podcast or something, and I got confused and I didn't know how to find it.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. It was heartbreaking to hear, and it was like, how did it get to that point? Like, not only how did he not notice that when he was signing all the paperwork, but like, how did his salesman not like understand his goals enough to be like, hey, don't you want a Y-axis? Didn't you say something about a Y-axis? It's crazy. But anyway, because of that podcast, I was going through and looking at other lights. Like I love my Freelux one, but lights and knives are like man jewelry, and it's like, you can always have another one. So I've been looking at a bunch of different flashlights, and there's some cheaper options. There's one company called Phoenix that makes a white laser flashlight that like they only sell to first responders and public safety people right now.
Are you
but it'll throw like
a public safety person so you can get this?
No. They say they're researching a way to give it to the public, but it's like 500 lumens up to like 3,200 yards or something like that. Like some dumb amount of throw. And I was like, that's cool.
That's cool.
Like I don't need it, but I want it.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been researching and listening to. Like they've got a few good podcasts that, like I know nothing about lights besides what I've seen on Freelux's Instagram and stuff like that. It's cool to listen to them talk about that.
Yeah, I'm just looking through my search history. It's all like hip hop related stuff. It's like a lot of skateboarding related things. I
was gonna say how to not fall off a skateboard.
When does Home Depot close? Restaurants, when they close. I actually went to a restaurant. This is completely off topic. Maybe, I don't know. This is what we do though. I went to a restaurant the other day, and I hadn't been in a restaurant in so long, and it was so weird. I was like, yo, I get to sit down and like I'm not in my house. I get to eat and talk to someone. Like this is cool. And
you actually eat in a restaurant?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And there's people in there, like like the waitresses and all that were wearing masks and all, but like other than that, it seemed pretty normal to me. And I was like, this is nice.
That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, then I did look up. I was looking into DHL because I got some stuff sent for me from China. And it got here in like the tracking said it would be here in like a week, and it showed up in like 2 days. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
whoa, like hold on. And so I want to look into that more for my international shipping because, like I've talked about, passing of the hands of packages between customs and countries, just things get lost and then I get screwed. And so if I could prevent that and it's quicker and cheaper potentially, that'd be a good solution. So I know one of my competitors just made the switch to DHL, so I want to look into that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Always, I was always sad when DHL pulled out of like the domestic market because they were always so good and like on
I didn't
time,
know they
if not
did
early.
that. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, for a few years, and then they were like, "Oh, we're not making enough money, like competing with FedEx and UPS."
yeah,
But they were always like by far my favorite,
yeah,
so that'd definitely be worth it.
yeah.
Um, all right, and then this is not a normal segment, but
Uh-oh.
I think we should set some
Oh
goals for the next
no. Oh gosh, next year. Oh yeah, 'cause
year.
these are 1 year. Duh.
Yeah, yeah. So it can be podcast goals. It can be personal
First of
goals.
all, happy birthday. No. I know Danny liked that right there, so that's for you.
Yeah, that on his
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah, as he's dropping little parts and can't find them. Uh, uh,
You see the shade he threw at me today?
What? What? He is always sending me shade, dude. He straight up told me he's like, I don't know why I like giving you shit, Payton. I'm like, wow, okay, Danny. Like I see how it is. And then I replied, and he just read the message and didn't even reply. I'm like, okay, it's on, bud.
He posted a picture that he's using his one of his Swiss machines as like a shaper, and he was like, "Look, I got a shaper working before Dylan did." And I was like, "Oh my goodness!"
Yo, this man needs to be visited by the With Intolerance gang or something. Jesus. 1 year goals. Less stress would be nice.
Yeah, that's a good goal.
More organization of my life. Um,
Finish 75 hard,
yeah,
or finish 75 days of 75
yeah, and
hard.
continue to do it. That's one thing. I hate going off topic, but that's just what I do. But like I killed myself the other day with a workout. Like I destroyed myself in a good way. Like I've never sweated so much in my life. And I was like I've learned everyone's different, but I've learned when I'm to the point where I think I'm gonna pass out and throw up, that means I've done a good job. And I
Yeah,
and I did that, and I was like, "Whoo! I survived. I feel great." And I'm like, "I'm gonna go read my 10 pages. I'm gonna call it a night." And I a little update on that. I've been much better about getting after reading his book about it. I'm still reading it, but like getting it done, like getting the whole challenge done before like 8 or 9 at night, um, instead of like dragging that out. And like the
yeah,
only thing,
like 3 morning.
yeah, yeah. And like the only thing I have left to do for today is I got to take a progress picture, which I do at the end of the day, anyways. And then right after we end this, I got to go for a 45-minute walk before it gets dark. But other than that, like I'm chilling. But like, yeah, I destroyed myself, and I felt so good. I was like, this is it. This is why I'm doing this. Um, but yeah, yeah, keep doing that
Just
for
like
1 year for sure.
I'm just like picturing your camera roll as just like pictures of you flexing at yourself in the mirror.
It's more of just a casual like, hey. Um, and he talks about that in the book, like how it's really just trying to teach people how like it's all about the details. Like, small things over time add up to big things. You might not notice it in the day to day, like you cleaning that workbench or that one corner or that material rack. You might not notice that, but when you do, it's like, okay, like, yeah, that was worth the effort or whatever. Um,
Yeah,
so
totally.
yeah, that was really cool. But yeah, I mean, organization, honestly, that could just sum up my life right there. Business and personal. Get more organized. Um, yeah, just have more free time to do things that I want. Trying to think. Yeah, just like if I want to go skateboard for 2 hours, why can't I go skateboard for 2 hours? Like why? Like
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah, you can kind of pin yourself in these situations where it screws you like that, but you kind of know that, getting into those situations. So other than that, yeah, I just want to be happy, make money, but I've learned that I can make a bunch of money, but it doesn't determine anything other than a bank account. So
Right. Yeah. If you're working 90 hours a week and you're making money, you're not enjoying it.
yeah, exactly. And you don't have time
Yeah.
to enjoy anything. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
Uh,
Fourth axis?
a what?
Fourth axis?
Maybe. I want the kitty out of here
Uh
in
huh.
the next year for sure. I mean, I'd really like it out of here in the next 6 months.
Yeah.
I I don't know that I want to say like I'm going to add another machine or something, but I want a better balance and a better workflow
Uh
here.
huh.
Like I want to be able to get parts out quicker on time and kind of have a better work life balance than I have.
Yep.
Because like really, it's been like okay, be on for like 3 weeks straight, and then like be dead for a week and not want to do anything, and then do the same thing again, and like this like cycle just
It's not
kills me.
sustainable at all.
No, no, not at all. Like this morning, I woke up like I didn't come to the shop last night, even though I needed to, because I was like, oh, I'm gonna get some sleep, and like even with more sleep, I woke up this morning, I was like, I feel like such hot garbage, like I just need to go back to bed, and like I was even texting you like trying to get out of doing the podcast tonight because I was like, I really don't want to
Yeah.
do this, um, but I'm glad we did
Yeah.
for sure. Goals wise, maybe a fourth axis. Um,
I mean, that would definitely, I
I
feel like,
really,
help you get some of these certain parts out quicker.
yeah, for sure. I'd really like to, if if I'm not working here full time, be very close to it.
Okay.
Like yeah, like I think that's very doable, especially now that we're starting to like have numbers that we can track
Yeah.
and know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Uh, I'd like to bring on some more
Okay.
customers, kind of diversify a little more. Um, and then as far as podcast goals, I'd love to do a meetup at
Dude,
something,
that'd be
whether
so
it's
sick.
I know there's been a few people that have messaged us like that. They're like, "Oh, I'm totally in. Like, let's do that." I'd love to do a meetup. I want to do some more merch. I think that like we've got some awesome
Yeah.
ideas. Fly
Yeah.
machinist being one of them.
Yeah.
I want to get some more guests on. Like the whole reason I wanted guests on the podcast was to like bring more accessibility to experts in the field.
Yeah.
And like I think we've done a good job about that, but like I'd love to have the guys from Mari Tool on, or like somebody from Imugi or OSG that can really talk about taps and like dive into taps, or somebody from like Qualichem that can really dive into coolant,
Yeah.
um, and just provide more accessibility to I don't know, I feel like guys that are small shops like you and me don't feel like, oh, we deserve the attention of like of the head applications engineer at Qualichem or something like
And
that.
it's
But
like, why not? Like, why? Like,
right,
and I think
right,
we've done a good job of showing some of these people because, I mean, you look at some of the people we've had on. We've had like VPs and like owners of like not small companies, and it's like I think we're like to some of these people. I think it was a shock that they actually like a podcast. Like, what is this? Like, oh, this is just like a PR thing that I should do to be nice, and like no, like there's a whole line of people behind this podcast that are like waiting and listening, and like people are starting to come around. I think, in like especially in the slowest industry possible, being manufacturing, to get with the program here. If you're not on Instagram and you're a machine tool building company, I don't know what you're doing. Um,
right,
but like,
yeah,
why can't I talk to the president or of like I want to talk to like let's have the head guy of Doosan come on, and I want to say like why aren't there more Doosan machines? Like why is Haas kicking your ass? Like why? Like
right.
let's talk about it. Like come on. Like I know it's not something you want to talk about, but like maybe you can get something out of this. I don't know. Like we just break that seal and say like this is normal now. Like yes, you're talking to someone that's not making $1 million, but you don't know who I know, what I know, where I'm going to be.
Who's listening?
Exactly,
Like,
right?
so yeah, I totally agree. And really, I like from the bottom of my heart, I want to reach out and thank every single person
Yeah,
who's come on the podcast and everybody who listens. Like, it's going back to that question earlier, like what's the hardest part? It's not hard because of all you. Like,
yeah,
you guys have been so open and honest and like so welcoming to the podcast, and everybody who's come on has like dedicated their time and just really opened up. Like, I don't think we've had a single person. I'm like going back through our Instagram right now, looking at all the people we've had on,
yeah,
and like everybody has had some little tidbit that's just
yep.
so cool to talk about. And like I still talk to most of these people through DMs quite a lot, you know? So I really appreciate everybody being so open to coming on and sharing, you know, an hour or two of their time, or, you know, 6 hours if you're Jeff. So yeah, it's just awesome. Like, I really appreciate everybody, and I'm hoping you'll stick with us through another year of the podcast, because I'm definitely planning on being here.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm scrolling through too. It's cool that definitely keep doing with the Instagram posts, putting pictures of their actual face, because like it's cool to like be like, oh yeah, like we had him, like boom, 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 like okay, like it puts that brand to the person. Um,
Yeah.
and just seeing like, oh, there's Tom Lipton holding a massive drill bit, like that was a great time. Like you just like you go through and it's just, I think it's cool. Yeah, I just think like what I said, why can't we talk to some of these people? um, like I strongly believe that we need to, as we're not the, what's a good example, we're not the ESPN, but you know why can't this community go somewhere like a podcast or like an Instagram page and listen to these higher ups and just learn? I mean, that's what we're all here for.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and like we're not making chips.
No,
Like, we both don't own $1 million companies, and we're not a super produced podcast.
yeah,
But I don't know. I feel
we
like
don't need
we
to
have a
be
lot of
at
fun.
the same time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Like, I feel like we have a lot of fun with our guests,
Yeah,
and I hope that shows. So, yeah, it's been nothing but just an absolute blast talking to each and every one of you. And like, I always learn so much that I never thought I would learn. Like, you know, Drew, I never thought I'd learn so much about additive manufacturing.
yeah,
Like, I never thought I'd hear, you know, crazy Clorox stories from
yeah,
Tom. Like, there's all these like little things that everybody brings. Like, I didn't think that Andrew would be a music major out of
yeah,
college, but now owns a holster company. Like, the backstories behind all of our guests are just, it's so varied and so cool that like I'm so appreciative of them coming on, and appreciative of all of you guys listening and providing us a platform that they want to come on. So again,
yeah.
thanks for sticking around for a year. Definitely, we will make a specific post about the WTP meme challenge. Get on that. Make something funny. Make us laugh. Make us want it. We'll figure out if we're gonna do voting or what. We might do it in the stories, or we'll just pick somebody. But we'll make sure that, I don't know, depending on how many people enter, we'll make sure that a lot of people get at least some stickers or something like that, and
Yeah.
make sure that, all of you feel our gratitude.
Yeah.
So
I did want to add one thing to that I do also want to thank everyone out there, because I will admit it is weird and I don't talk about this, but I am a young person in this realm of older people, and it is nice to have this community where I don't like, I can go on Instagram and not feel like I'm being like looked down upon, which is very rare, especially in manufacturing, because like in industry, when I go to my day job at the time, I'm like, they're like, oh, here comes that 16-year-old. He's probably going to quit tomorrow. And I'm like, no, like, dude, like, I'm trying to learn here. Like, and I feel like I can
yep.
come to Instagram and people can approach me. And it's also just the people. And I feel like how I present myself, it's like, we could be professional. Yes, I'm 20. We can talk shit if you want to talk shit. But like, at the same time, like, I might be able to help you and you might be able to help me. So like, I think it's just, I can't say enough. There's got to be a way we do something, a T-shirt or something that just like something to do with how great Instagram machining community is, because it really is. And I know we just keep talking about that, but it really has definitely changed the way I approach manufacturing. I'm not scared anymore to ask questions or you know basically show that like, yeah, I screwed up type thing.
Right.
So,
Yeah. It's not the Facebook machinist group.
no.
It's not Practical Machinist
Yeah.
as much as Luma Labs loves that.
Yeah.
Not everybody is looking for a fight, and that's the great thing about the Instant Machinist community is like we're all here just to support each other, and it's nothing but awesome. So
Yeah.
thank you
Thank
all.
you, everybody.
We'll see you next week, probably with a guest. I guess we'll get somebody on.
Yeah. Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
All right. Beam it up, guys. Screenshot this right here. Boom, boom, boom.
All righty, guys.
Probe here.
I don't think you want to be saying that.
Yeah, I already know it's gonna. Just start the GoFundMe already, okay?
Yeah, there you go.
All right. See you guys.